I have one more question. So, to me, as much as I'm interested in human-centered design, I am also having my individual interest in cargoes, how things move around the world, how globe distributes different items through different users. So, what do you think mobility as a service and cargo? You think how do they meet, or how do you think the future is? I think somewhere, in my journey as a student and as an intern and also as a professional working, I have been associated with the cargo kind of space because I briefly did an internship in Scania, where it's majorly one of trucks as uh, they transport a lot of cargo across the world. Everywhere, if you see, trucks are a huge source of commercial transport. And something that is even bigger is the world of cargo ships, which when I joined the company that I was working before, I came to know about more of them, and it was fascinating to me also how these behemoth ships carry so much cargo. But you also look back at your schooling where you say water transport is the cheapest transport. That was kind of the second. So interesting perspective on that is one is that hi-fi, flashy area of car design where you have supercars, sports cars, and there is another huge division of people working in commercial vehicles, right? There you have to keep the cost low for certain categories because uh, that is something that people in trucking companies and all might order 100 trucks or 150 trucks. So even if they are to reduce the price by a small amount, it kind of affects. So I would say this is just an example which might be relevant to some industries, some companies, which might not be to some. But and also there are the nuances of how one uses a truck. Okay, if you are looking at or the emergence of all these mini trucks in India, right? You have small pickup vans, which were present in countries like Japan and in Europe, but they came to India in much later or probably the previous 5 to 10 years, where we had like the Tata Ace, which was a big hit because it was infinitely reliable. It was made very simply and it lasted long and the operational costs also were very less, which meant that it's a huge winner for the Indian community who does cargo deliveries and all. So from the smallest cargo to the biggest cargo vehicle, before hitting the trucks, is also a market that has expanded seriously well in the past, I would say. And I know few of my seniors who are working with Tata Motors on commercial vehicles in Ashok Leyland. A few of my colleagues are working. It's I would say it's not for everyone, but it is for certain people who are fascinated by trucks and all. And uh, all of your understanding it goes big at a time because you have clay models of cars and all which you can see in a room and I once saw clay models of trucks which are like you need a huge space to even have them. But there are also the elements of styling, the elements of human-centered design is seriously taken care of. Let us say we would drive a car for a maximum of 8 hours or 10 hours if you're going on a long journey. But someone who is driving a truck is continuously inside the space. So he or she has to be more comfortable in that space. Everything has to be designed around that person and around persons probably if they are going to do that. And also I think there have been a lot of studies about trucking in India and how hard are things for them and how are the new generation trucks helping them. So that is a field on its own and I think it is so interesting if you go into that. And there are a lot of women also working on on certain aspects of that, which I feel is seriously interesting because you have all the genders working together on to solve problems where everyone is using. Because trucking, I think in India it is primarily associated with the male, but lately things are changing. So that is another aspect of. If you come to shipping industry, it is huge and primarily I think a lot of commercial ships or cargo ships have been using diesel. Now some are using compressed gas. So these also result in pollution in certain times. So there is a movement towards more eco-friendly fuels, about using wind as a source of energy, auxiliary energy, using solar energy, and I think that is where I work for a company that makes solar boats, and for boats to capture energy, they have a lot of real estate because solar panels only have certain efficiency. So as of today, because I think maximum they have like 30 to 40%. If that might be the max, I guess. Um, which means you need a lot of area to capture a little bit of charge. And in water, on land, if you can push the wheels easily, you can walk easily on land, right? But have you tried walking in water? It takes a lot more of torque for that. You need more fuel for that. But at the same time, you can carry a lot of things. That's why the shipping industry is, hugely famous for. And you have ships going across the globe carrying everything from oil, food, uh, cargo, vehicles, all sorts of things. It is a huge market, and people are looking into autonomous ships, energy efficient ships, and energy efficient passenger transport also in boats and all. And there's a huge push towards sustainable sources or renewable sources of propulsion for all of this. It's also a field where I see a lot of inventions are being made. There are companies like Candela, Exshore, and all, which are electric boat builders from around Scandinavia, and they have been growing hugely in popularity because they are promoting a sustainable or more renewable source of transport. But I think as designers and being located in India also, we have a different take on the same problem, right? We have lots of sunshine, and the idea is how can we capture them for efficient use, and how can we capture them so that our people are benefited by the transport that we create and the transportation system that we create. So just imagine that since we are in Hyderabad city, let's say River Musi was fully functioning, so we could have a whole set of boats that are going across using solar and any renewable energy possible, which would form one mode of transport in Hyderabad, right? So you have the metro, you have the water metro probably. So there again the systems connecting multimodality and all comes into play. So this is about shipping and all. And also in cargo, the field of airliners, that is also hugely interesting because I think we have generally traveled in Boeing and Airbus aircraft, right? And we see how the design inside is. How, and if you come to the cockpit, it's a whole another story. You have a lot of aviation companies working in designing the cockpit, like how are traditionally things placed, are they easily accessible, and it is a very critical space where errors are not forgiven easily, right? And so, how do you design systems for people, pilots to use so that they do not make any errors and the cognitive load on them is less? So, that is also very interesting. From knob design to button design to placing them to kind of, looking at the work zones, that is another interesting field, I would say. That's just, I think I have went across a lot about your query, but I hope it gives some kind of clarification around what you are thinking.
So each community has their own needs,
Mhm.
and each country have their own needs. That is
Absolutely.
their own design culture too.
Mhm.
So if I were to pursue design academia,
Mhm.
you think I would? It would be easier for me to learn it in Indian context and apply it in Indian context, or maybe explore a different design culture and environment compared to India.
I think it is interesting. I would say if there is a chance for us to know different cultures, I'm not saying exactly. It is always interesting. You can do that because there you get perspective on understanding something that is different from the way one culture works. So we have knowledge of one culture right now and the way it works. So when you add any culture to that, let's say even if you're going for vacation, you notice certain things, right? So you have understanding of how different cultures work, how are they doing things differently so that it is either more or less efficient. There are things that are efficient in India which may not be so efficient in other places. And also how does population, how does the demographic, how does the geography also affect each culture and design is different. So definitely I would suggest from understanding design and people, it's encouraging to look into or learn design at some other place. But applying it to India is a whole different ballgame, I would say, because we have very different needs and we don't accept things easily from other cultures because it is not relevant to us. So the relevancy of what you create for our culture is very different to what it might be for another culture. And also every culture perceives value and these values are different for each culture and what might be valuable for Europe might not be so valuable for us. So how can you as a designer create value for Indian people in building an Indian system and products is where you should think about. Right? For Europe, let's take some country in Europe. They have generally a lower population, so it is easy to implement government policies. It is easier for the government to see into the people, see into let's say about the transportation, right? See if the rules are being obeyed correctly, and also contribute towards people. Probably take more taxes, but at the same time, give more provisions to the people. Whereas you come to India and it's a humongous country with so many cultures in them. So and if I implement something in southern part of India, it might not work in central or northern part. If I implement something in northern part, that might not work in southern. But at the same time, we also have, as Indians, a different or unifying uh, part of culture that kind of brings us together as a country. So I'm again going wide on this. So if we look at what value as an Indian, what an Indian wants, you can provide. That would be something that would contribute towards the problem. Let's again come back to the case of Tata Ace. It is something that is used in Kanyakumari and the same thing might be used in Shimla, right? But how is it customized in each of these locations? Those depend on the culture and their needs. Right? And let's say a place like which place had the highest rainfall in northeast. It might need certain accessories to be used there. Whereas if you take a state which has very less rain, it might use a more skeletal form. No, right? So all this This is just an example I told so that it could be more clear for us to take. Yes. Any other queries that you would like to make?
No, sir, this was quite a comprehensive chat that we had. So overall, pieces were covered, to be honest.
This discussion, I hope you guys understood some of the queries that you have, and I think people who are who wants to join mobility design or industrial design or have certain if they want to take transportation, these are some points that would come in handy for them. And I think in a way it solves it kind of I hope it has brought clarity to you guys.
It did.
And it was also interesting to have this discussion on something that is relevant, something that will go on, that needs to go on, and how will it play a part, and how will you guys probably play a part in designing some of the new modes of transportation or mobility that would happen. So I hope as for everyone also this chat kind of makes a little bit sense, and if it can clear some doubts that you have, then it would be interesting. So this is it from us. Thank you for watching this. We'll see you guys soon.